Good evening. I'd like to formally welcome everyone, including members of the gallery and press, to this council meeting. My name is Councillor Owen Sharkey and I'm the Mayor of the Golden Plains Shire. Tonight this meeting is taking place within the Well in Smilersdale and is open to the public. This meeting has been live streamed in accordance with Council's governance rules, and I welcome any viewers joining us online. As the meeting is open to the public to attend, if the live stream ceases at any time, the meeting will continue. I will now recite the opening declaration on behalf of all councillors. We, the councillors of Golden Plains Shire, declare that we will undertake on every occasion to carry out our duties in the best interest of the community, and that our conduct shall maintain the standards of the Code of Good Governance, so that we may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in this council by the people of Golden Plains Shire. Acknowledgement of country. Golden Plains Shire spans the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar people. We acknowledge them as the traditional owners and custodians. Council pays its respects to both the Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar elders, past and present. Council extends that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the Golden Plains Shire. We now move to apologies and leave of absence. Councillors, are there any apologies for this meeting or requests for leave of absence? Take that as a no. Confirmation of the minutes. Councillors, we have a resolution before us to confirm the minutes and the confidential minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 28th of October 2025 and the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 11th of November 2025 as circulated. Councillors, can I have a mover? Moved Councillor Hayden, seconded Councillor Kirby. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Councillors, do we have any conflicts of interest? Thank you very much, Councillor Hayden.
As my property is in the location.
Very much, Councillor Hayden. Thank you. Is there any other declarations, conflict of interest, councillors? With that, councillors, we now move to consider the formal agenda. Item 7.1, councillors, can be found on page 6 of the agenda. And councillors, are there any questions with regards to 7.1? If there's no questions, I'll seek a mover. Robbins, thank you very much. Moved Councillor Robbins and seconded Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. This is a report measuring council's performance against the local government performance reporting framework. All councils have to report against this framework to enable comparison across councils. We can see some real improvements in this report. I particularly want to call out the planning area for notable improvements in the timeliness of deciding planning applications and in the percentage of council planning decisions upheld at VCAT compared to the previous couple of years. We can take that as an indication that the increase in speed isn't coming at the expense of robust decision making, which is great. Thank you.
Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble speaking to the motion.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, concurring with Councillor Robbins. To know your council cross comparison is the ultimate destination for these figures, so the public can see and compare the performance figures to other councils. Yeah, so it's also useful for learnings because it does pick up on things like community satisfaction on issues. And while there are some improvements, there are also some things that we need to work on, such as the geez, I've forgotten what that code is. AM2, which is the animal management. It's very low. With overall councils are expected to be in the 30 and 90% rate, but we were 17%, so we've gone up to 29%, which is a good improvement, but it's still pretty low. Also with on the satisfaction on the roads side of things is pretty disappointing, considering independent assessors have said that our roads are much better than what the perception of the community is, which is only 34% currently, when the expected range for councils is 50 to 100. So I think that it's more a perception issue than a reality issue there. Anyway, it's very useful information to look at. Some other important ones that we've talked about before are like the liquidity ratios, and that, yeah, there's a lot of information there that I encourage people to look through, and thanks also for the commentary around the ratings too. It's quite informative for anybody to look through. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Gamble, would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I will put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 7.2, the quarter one finance report, which can be found on page 8 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? Questions? I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Second motion, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. This quarterly finance report is looking at our financial results for the quarter ending September 2025. It compares our financial position to the budget that was in force during that quarter and not the revised budget that we adopted in October. It also includes a full year forecast position that's more in line with the revised budget. The results for the quarter appear to be broadly stable, with most variances being explained by timing of receipt of revenue or projects being rolled over. The variance in depreciation is explained by the asset revaluation that was undertaken this calendar year. I look forward to further quarterly reports where we should start to see the impact of the actions we're taking to address our low cash levels.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Phelan?
I reserve my right.
Councillors, would anyone like to speak against the motion? Speaking against the motion, Councillor.
No, I just got a belated question, if that's
Sorry,
allowed. Okay, sorry, I just didn't have my notes. Wasn't on the right page from the right time to ask the question. Happened.
Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak?
No, no one to speak against the motion. We'll put the motion.
I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 7.3 on page 14 of the agenda, council plan. Are there any questions, councillors? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Anyone like to move the motion? Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. This is the first quarterly progress report we're getting under the new council plan 2025-29. It's also the first quarterly progress report to use the new reporting format that's been designed in response to feedback from councillors, staff and the community, with a focus on making it clear and simple. I'm pleased to see initiatives progressing well in all areas of the plan. I wanted to especially call out the Children's Services team. There have been some pretty significant reforms in early learning, and there's been some great work coming out of the Children's Services team to support those reforms and make sure we're able to provide local, trusted early childhood services. I was really impressed with the Kindergarten Infrastructure Services Plan and the forecasting of future demand for kindergarten places. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of the sustainability initiatives kick off that are scheduled to start later in the 25-26 year, especially the Teesdale landfill capping rehabilitation project.
Thanks, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight the major initiatives report and the formatting of it, as Councillor Robbins mentioned. Pretty good. And but I would say that there are things in this report which I'm pleased about, but I didn't know about as a councillor. And particularly the climate emergency plan priorities, which indicate a progression. Notable highlight being the Resilient Community Assets Project in collaboration with the Barwon Southwest Climate Alliance. So, yeah, it's, I think in the past we've had more collaborative engagement with these sort of alliances and other committees and boards that we've been involved with. Like in the past, I remember like the Grampians Waste Management Board Committee, and there'd be like 50 attendees from quite a wide range of councils across Western Victoria and Barwon South West area. And it would also include a lot of officers and councillors attending these meetings. And it's likewise with G21, which we're not going to those forums either now. So it's a little disappointing that that we aren't having these kind of engagements, because I feel we're not being informed as much about what's going on in the regional and the inter-council and even the state government level with things like development of waste management policies, etc. Part of it is also because the state government, may I suggest, is not as collaborative as it once was on some issues. But I'd just like to say that the forums provided those links and appreciation for what other council, shires, city, even boroughs were doing to our neighbouring bodies. And also bodies such as the Catchment Management Authority and Barwon Water, Department of Transport, Barwon Health, etc., would all have representation on the G21 boards, for example, or not the boards, the pillars they were called then, and also it was another way to get information and see what our officers were doing in these spaces too. So, other than that, I endorse the progress report, and there's a lot of really good information and progress being made. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. Item 7.4, page 17 of the agenda. Adoption of the Domestic Animal Management Plan. Councillors, are there any questions? Questions? I'll seek a mover. Motion, Councillor Cook. Seconding the motion, Councillor. I'll second the motion. Move the second the motion, Councillor Phelan. Thank you very much, Councillor Cook.
The Domestic Animal Management Plan is something that needs to be rewritten every 4 years for the state government purposes. They look at the plan and compare it with the legislation to ensure that each of the shires are compliant. Despite a population of 24,000 people roughly in the shire, we now have 7,800 cats and dogs. That's quite a number. Registered cats are only 1,189. Those numbers have been moderately stable from the last animal management plan in 2020 to the updated one now. The real issue, the number of menacing dogs is similar. The number of dog attacks is roughly the same, but the cost to the shire for the catching and care of unregistered cats and dogs is quite enormous. It's staggering. It's $200,000 a year. This is $200,000 that could be used in other methods, and I think some action should be taken to address cost. For people who may be watching, the cost of catching a cat and taking it to an animal shelter is roughly about $550 for each of these registered or unregistered cats. The cat reclamation is roughly 4% of the cats which are caught and sent to a shelter. Now, there can be no doubt that we all owe a duty to these animals to look after them properly, but the cost to the Shire of catching unregistered cats is quite enormous and really needs to be looked at further. The plan itself, though, is a very good plan for the management of animals, mainly dogs and cats, within the Shire. And I think it shows that it has been managed appropriately in the last 4 years and will continue to do so. It really is the legislation that needs to be adjusted to allow for the costs being incurred by a Shire to be decreased. So, as such, I commend the plan to the Shire Council.
Thank you very much.
Could I make an amendment, please?
Got a motion, I've got a second. I'll come to you.
Okay, thank you.
Seconding the motion, Councillor Phelan.
Yeah, and I fully endorse Councillor Cook's comments, but I think the problem he's touched on is the real problem is rounding those people up. And I think that the cost it costs us to the cost of rounding these people up. A lot of people have got animals, but they don't worry about registering. And while the plan is great, getting people to adhere to the plan is the problem. And while that is not happening, we're still going to have dogs and cats roaming around, killing birds or sheep or whatever. And I think that we've got to make an concerted effort in trying. I know it might cost some money, but if we can round them up, it could be beneficial to us.
Much, Councillor Phelan. Anyone like to speak against the motion?
My amendment.
You've got to put forward an amendment to the motion.
Yeah. Original motion is the council adopted the Vintic Animal Management Plan as attached. I'd like to raise an amendment on to receive a report back on improvements and what we can do to improve cat what's the word with reclaim rates. That clear enough? I'll allow it.
Yeah, I don't feel it needs to be put into the motion, and it's probably something we could discuss at a briefing day to have that conversation if we want. I don't think that just want to try and.
I think it'd be useful to, given the appalling figures, to have a dedicated report looking at this issue.
Yep. Would any council like to second the amendment?
Sorry, could you just repeat what you want to do?
To also receive a report on improvements on what we can do to improve cat reclaim rates.
Second.
Second, Councillor, again, would you like to speak to the amendment to the motion?
Yeah, this is an issue of great concern to me and other people that are really concerned about our wildlife and the environment. It's one of the biggest threats in biodiversity is roaming cats, a lot of them domestic, that kill a lot of wildlife. So given that we have a real problem in the Shire, I think, with really low rates of people even reclaiming their cats, I think we should look at addressing what we can do to improve that, especially given it's such a big issue across local government in many other councils. I think we can do a lot better, and it would be useful to have a dedicated report looking at the issues and what other councils have done to engage their residents to be more responsible, basically.
Yes, Councillor Gamble, Councillor Kirby.
Yeah, just following on from Councillor Gamble's points, I think it's within the report, I think it's very obvious that if you build a cat cage, you do receive a 50% rebate.
So just point of order, just speaking to the amendment, not rationale for the why. We're speaking to an amendment to bring a briefing day update on it.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Would the council like to speak against the amendment to the motion? Speaking against the amendment to the motion, I'll put the amendment to the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion.
We're voting for the amendment.
Amendment to the motion, which is now the motion. So we just voted on the amendment to the motion, and now that's become the motion. So now we have Councillor Cook's motion, which has the amendment in it. So the current motion, which we've spoken to, would anyone like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 7.5, page 19 of the agenda, authorisation for planning scheme amendment. Councillors, are there any questions? Questions, I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion is Councillor and Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. This is a proposed planning scheme amendment that effectively seeks to prevent the installation of electronic gaming machines in areas where they're more likely to cause gambling harm. This is one of the primary initiatives under our gambling harm mitigation policy, and I think the amendment is really well proposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Hayden.
But add to what Councillor Robbins said.
Thank you very much. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? Councillor speaking against the motion, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Councillors, page 44 of the agenda, item 7.6, council committee delegations. Councillors, are there any questions? Questions, I'll seek a mover to the motion. Councillors aware of the delegations we've got there, the
No, I read it out.
yeah, yep. Yep, far away. Do you want to do it out? Let's see.
I move that council determine the appointment of councillors to internal and external organisations and committees for the 25-26 period as follows. For the Audit and Risk Committee, delegates are the Mayor and Councillor Robbins. For the Councillor Contracts Committee, the Chair to be Councillor Robbins, and the 2 delegates to be Councillor Kirby and Councillor Phelan. For the Golden Plains Disability Advisory Committee, the delegate to be Councillor Hayden and the proxy to be Councillor Kirby. For the CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee, the delegates to be all councillors. For the Community Awards Selection Panel, the delegates to be the Mayor and Councillor Kirby and the proxy to be Councillor Hayden. For the Geelong Regional Library Corporation, the delegate to be the Mayor and the proxy to be Councillor Gamble. For the Geelong Heritage Centre Collection Advisory Committee, the delegate to be Councillor Gamble and the proxy to be Councillor Cook. For the G21 Board of Directors, the delegate to be the Mayor. The Greater Ballarat Alliance of Councils, the delegate to be the Mayor and the proxy to be Councillor Robbins. Peri-urban Group of Rural Councils, delegate to be the Mayor and proxy to be Councillor Robbins. For the Municipal Association of Victoria, delegate to be Councillor Gamble and proxy Councillor Robbins. The Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine Board, delegate Councillor Cook and proxy Councillor Gamble. For Rural Councils Victoria, delegate Councillor Cook and proxy Councillor Phelan.
Councillor Robbins, can I have someone second? Motion, second motion, Councillor Gamble. Want to add to that, Councillor Robbins?
Just to thank the councillors for their interest in representing the community on this committee. Thank you.
Councillor Robbins, Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank Councillor Robbins for getting all this delegates and list in order, and also just to thank the other councillors too for the way it's worked out. I think it's quite good. Sort of aligns with our different interests, and I know this can be quite difficult sometimes to negotiate all these different areas, but delegations. But this time, I think it's worked out really well. So I'm looking forward to my particular responsibilities. I'm sure other people are too. Thank you.
Let's try Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I will put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is, those against? Motion is carried. Councillor Kirby, were you voting then for the motion or against the motion? For the motion. Yep, just thank you. The motion is carried. Thank you very much, councillors. Item 7.7, Councillor Engagement Program, page 50 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? Questions? I'll seek a mover. I'd like to move the motion, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion, Councillor Cook. Thank you very much. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. The intention of this report is just to mark our commitment as councillors to getting out in the community and having an open dialogue with people. It's not intended to provide an exhaustive list of everything we're planning to get out to, and of course there might be other events throughout the year that haven't been scheduled yet. I'd really encourage community groups, if they're organising an event that they'd like councillors to attend, that they send us an invitation. We're keen to get out and engage in the smaller communities, but if we can sort of multiply our exposure by coming along to an event that already has a built-in audience, maybe that can have a greater impact rather than asking people to come out just to see us. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook.
Yes, I think everyone around this table has a genuine interest to engage with the residents, and we're keen to come out. We don't all have to come out. We can have one or two, and we're happy to talk to anyone. So I look forward to the forthcoming year.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would anyone like to speak against the motion?
I'd like to speak a little more on it.
Are you speaking against the motion?
No, in support of it.
I'm just taking those against. Anyone like to speak against the motion? No one's speaking.
I'll speak against the motion. Yeah, I just feel that With council, it's the next 12 months, you know, we should be a little bit more organised as what we've got within the community. In the past, we have recognised that we were going to go to certain townships on a certain day at a certain month, and we did this 12 months in advance. At the moment, we just seem to be a bit hickory-pickory about all over the shop of where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And I think we just need to make it, you know, a little bit more above board what we're doing, where we're going to be for the next 12 months. I believe that, yes, we can have a couple of councils in attendance at certain things, but we're here as a group. Let's act as a group and be in this together. Thank you.
Anyone like to speak for the motion? For the motion, Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, just to acknowledge Councillor Kirby's concerns there, but I think there is within the motion there, or the report, there is acknowledgement that we need to look out for more engagement opportunities in the middle of the Shire, and I'd certainly support creating those. That we have done things in Rosewood and Doreel in the past, and we need to sort of be cognizant of the need to spread ourselves all over the Shire, not just to the north and the south, which a lot of these events naturally lend themselves to. One thing I want to mention, though, that we just recently found in the last couple of days, that the dunk tank at the Teesdale Market has been cancelled. And I'm sure there'll be a few councillors here that'll be relieved to hear that, and maybe a few disappointed that they're not going to, particularly residents, that they're not going to see some of their councillors be immersed in water.
Councillor Gamble, would anyone like to speak against the motion? For the motion? Councillor Roberts, ask you to close.
Nothing further, thank you.
Much. Councillors, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimous. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Councillors, as previously discussed, I am proposing we consider the following 3 items to be on block tonight. These items are 7.8, 7.10 and 7.11. This is in accordance with Council's governance rules. Council may consider agenda items en bloc, meaning that they are considered and resolved in a group rather than individually. This may be used where the motions note actions already taken and do not commit council to further action, spending or changes to policy, or relate to planning or third-party statutory rights. Councillors, are there any questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Gamble with a question.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask, how does this improve our standing in the community when I believe there's a perception, there could be a perception issue about condensing these different motions.
Just point of order, a question.
Yeah, okay.
You've got a question of a director. We're not arguing the point. Is there a question you have for a director? Or?
Yes, how does this enhance our standing in the community?
So, Councillor, the question you're asking is a personal question. It's not a question that's of opinion. We're happy to debate that as a council, but I don't feel I can take that question because you're asking for someone's personal opinion, not that of the council. Happy to go through the motions and debate, but I don't think it's fair to ask a director a personal question.
Can I just note that once the en bloc is adopted, I won't have an opportunity to raise my concerns. Hence, I'm raising this question now.
What is the question, Councillor Gamble?
How it helps us with the perception in the community that we're not rushing through.
I'll give you the opportunity to rephrase the question. You're asking personal opinion in the community, which I don't feel is right for a director to answer, how it's going to be perceived in the community. If you rephrase the question, how it helps from a governance point of view, I think the question may be better accepted.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. How does it help in the governance point of view? Using an en bloc.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. I'll put the question around the governance aspect of it, which we have to Director Gray. Thank you very much.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thanks for your question, Councillor Gamble. In relation to the use of en bloc to effectively and efficiently get through the agenda items in front of you, the governance rules enable the facility of the use of en bloc, as the Mayor read out, in relation to not being about making further action, spending changes to policy or relate to planning third-party statutory rights. The three particular reports captured by this particular motion are for noting. They are the outcome of their minutes and the performance outcome from the Audit and Risk Committee, who are the decision-making authority on those minutes and that performance assessment. Council and community are receiving those for noting. So there's no decision role to be played here and or action coming from that. And this provides a procedural way of dealing with those efficiently and effectively. It doesn't take any decision-making rights away from council. There's no decision to be made in relation to these specific reports. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Gray. Councillors, is there any other questions?
Could I just thank the Director for providing clarity on the procedural aspects.
Councillors, can I seek is there any further questions to the en bloc? If there's no further questions, I'll seek a mover to the recommendation. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins, seconding the motion. Councillor Phelan, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins, thank you very much.
The content of these three items has already been scrutinised by the Audit and Risk Committee, as mentioned by Director Gray, and the Audit and Risk Committee is the body established to do so. These three items are to note the recent work of the committee and an assessment of the committee's performance. The committee is carrying out its functions in accordance with its work plan and it's operating effectively, so I don't foresee a need for debate on these items. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Phelan.
Following on from Councillor Robbins, I think that the Audit and Risk Committee is a committee of councillors and independent people, and they're very well scrutinised by the Auditor General and by a lot of this is a report on the way they go about business, and I can see no problem with the way you've addressed it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? No one speaking against the motion. I will put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll now consider the items en bloc, and the recommendation is that Council resolves items 7.8, 7.10 and 7.11 as per the recommendation. Do I have a mover to the recommendation? Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Second the motion, Cook. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. As I said, the committee's carrying out its.
So yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Thank you. Moved and second. I'll put it straight to a vote. Those in favour? Yeah. Motion is carried. Thank you. Councillors, item 7.9, Audit and Risk Committee Charter Review. Page 61 of the agenda. Are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. The motion. Moving the motion. Councillor Robbins, seconding the motion. Councillor Cook, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. The Audit and Risk Committee Charter undergoes annual review. This year's review has only minor changes, which are set out in the report, and I'm happy to adopt it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook.
Should be.
Very much. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 7.12, use benefits and mortality register, page 101 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover to the motion. Moving the motion is Councillor Gamble, seconding the motion. Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble.
Well, I've lost my track with notes here, but it's basically procedural that we yeah, it's a requirement. We have a register. It's mainly officers that have had to declare benefits, with Councillor Robbins having to declare jumper from memory to stop her getting too cold. And so I believe it was a function in Smysdale, was it? With probably in winter. Anyway, so yeah, it all seems good as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Councillor Gamble, Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. Yeah, as far as I can see, everything is appropriately captured in the register, so happy to note it.
Thank you much, Councillor Robbins. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I will put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Item 7.13, delegates report and informal meetings of council records, page 104 of the agenda. No questions, and I'll seek a mover to the motion. Moving the motion. Robbins. Seconding the motion. Councillor Phelan, thanks very much. Councillor Robbins, would you like to speak to the motion?
I attended the Smysdale Flood Study community consultation, which was held here as well. There were two sessions, one in the afternoon and one in the evening, and I attended the evening session. But I'm told the afternoon one was very well attended, with people bringing along lots of local knowledge and photos that will inform the study. I also sent through a few photos of my own from the 2022 floods. I attended the Open Space Strategies community consultation at the Smysdale Market and had some good conversations with residents about the rail trail, the rec centre, the historic precincts and the Smysdale Gardens. A recurring theme in my conversations with residents was the number of long-serving volunteers we have who are serving in multiple voluntary roles, and the challenge of bringing in younger volunteers to our associations, historic societies, recreation committees and other groups. I attended a webinar on the state government's proposed planning reforms. This was organised by Rural Councils Victoria and it was pretty well attended. There were over 75 attendees, most of them council staff and a handful of councillors. The proposed reforms are significant and the lack of consultation with councils is concerning. They're calling the bill Better Decisions Made Faster, which I guess sounded better than less transparency and more strain on small planning teams. Council is advocating for changes to the bill. Earlier today, I went to the Smysdale Public Gardens upgrade opening, and what a beautiful day for it. The Gardens is a great camping spot that's cared for by a really passionate group. State member for Ripon, Martha Haylett, was there, and we got a tour of the gardens to look at the upgrades, including signage and furniture. And we also saw some public art that's been recently created. There was a mosaic celebrating our its history, and the artist was even there to answer questions about it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend any of the Remembrance Day ceremonies this year. The Mayor and I were both required to attend a meeting of Council's Audit and Risk Committee. But the committee did pause its meeting at 11 AM to allow us to acknowledge Remembrance Day and observe a minutes.
Thank you very much, Councillor. No, Phil wasn't. And would any other councillor like to speak to delegates report? So Gamble.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I didn't attend a lot this month, but I did attend the Bannockburn Market and also the Remembrance Day proceedings at Inverleigh on with Councillor Cook, who laid the wreath. An extra important part of this Remembrance Day service was that they had the official opening of a new Veterans Memorial interactive pathway at the Inverleigh RSL shortly afterwards, and it's worth having a look at, and you can see the contribution from the individuals on the bricks, but also it's they've made the whole front of the RSL there. They've developed it a lot more, so it looks better, good. And at the service, we had Dan Tehan and Christine Cousins and Michaela Settle. The flyover was unfortunately cancelled because of the weather. There was also readings from students from two of the schools, local schools that came, and there was also a lot of work had been put into it from DEMA in particular, the RSL organiser there, and it also included they had a live bagpipe player in the beautiful trumpet player. So it was quite moving and done really well. And I'd like to thank the RSL sub branch for doing such a good job on holding the service. Thank you.
Councillor Gamble. Any other councillor like to speak to the delegates report? Kirby.
Thank you. Yes, I attended the Rokewood RSL Remembrance Day service. Once again, the school children came along. Great day was had by all, and it's just good to remember what's happened in the past within the many wars. I also attended the Baringa Hall. They presented a history of Baringa and Staffordshire Reef on Saturday night, and it was a great attendance, and it's just interesting to go and hear about what goes on in your local area, what the history was, and I think you can learn a lot from it, and it's just a great opportunity if anyone's able to go to any of the small towns and support them along the way. I also attended the Smilesdale Gardens opening today. It's been a couple of years in the making, but it's just fantastic to see how much the community has put into creating the gardens, looking after them, and the atmosphere is just fantastic. So even though it's a camp area as well, it's just a beautiful place for people to go along the rail trail and experience the Smilesdale Gardens. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Any other councillor like to speak to the delegates report? Yeah, I had a good month. This month was some nice community events coming up that were held, which we got the opportunity to attend. Maud had a fantastic Bunjil Community Day, which was well represented by the community, and it was a fantastic opportunity there. Also, myself and Councillor Phelan and Councillor Robbins attended the Smilesdale Market, and we were all there for a few hours, and it was quite interesting to see the constant little bits of contributions by the community into that. And I think by the end of the day, whilst the day was going along, it didn't feel like there was many people there, but by the end we had a significant amount of input from the community in the open space strategy. So that was a really good day, and the sun was shining again there. So really nice. Myself and the CEO have had a busy month this month, probably almost sort of finishing up now our sort of tour of hitting our local members. So over the past month, we had the opportunity to have a word in the ears of Richard Miles, Catherine King, Ms Hutchins through GBAC, and Gail Tierney. So very, very good opportunities there, particularly at state level, 12 months outside an election. So some positive things being said on those fronts, which is quite good. Also got to attend the Batesford community meeting down there regarding the Moorabool River and the open space down there, and taking another step there, which has been a long journey. So yeah, quite a busy month overall, which is quite good. No further to be said. I will put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.14, councillors, page 109 of the agenda. This is in regards council note the CEO's operational report. Mr. CEO, did you want
to? Maybe just to note, given we're in Smythesdale, that I know in Smythesdale and in the northern part of the municipality, the Northern Streetscapes project is a project that's everyone's very passionate about and would like to see happen. So there's an update in there, I guess, for community and councillors, just to say that progress does continue. Detailed design for the project has been completed, and we're currently working through the final planning permit approval for and Department of Transport planning approvals before tendering and then commencing construction, hopefully in the first half of 2026.
Thank you very much. So I'll seek a mover to the recommendation, councillors. Councillor Robbins moving the motion, seconding the motion. Councillor Cook, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. The CEO's operational report gives an update on items that might be a bit more interesting to the community than the other reports of council, because it's more directly connected to what people might see and experience in their local area. The confirmation of $2 million of funding through the Safe Local Roads and Streets program is a great win, which will fund road safety projects in Smythesdale, Haddon, Ross Creek, Imberley and Bannockburn. I appreciated the update from the CEO's visits to Smythesdale, Meredith and Lytton. It's great to see the engagement with local progress associations, businesses and emerging developments. And the supermarket proposal in Smythesdale is something that so many residents are interested in and wanting to see succeed. And it's great to see an update on the Northern Streetscapes project, and it's exciting to think that we'll see some concrete outcomes we can celebrate from this project that's been a long time in the making. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook, seconding the motion.
Yes, it's great to have the report, and I think it speaks very highly of the new CEO and his progress, despite only a very short tenure. And we look forward to further reports each month.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would anyone want to speak against the motion? Not speaking against the motion, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. With no notices of motion, no petitions and no urgent business, councillors, I do note that there is a confidential item for consideration tonight. These items are considered confidential as defined in section 3 of the Local Government Act. Can I have a councillor move that the recommendation that we move into a closed session? Moving the motion, Councillor Phelan, seconding the motion, Councillor Hayden, thank you. All those in favour?